Hello, and welcome to Fantasy Football by Ben. Today I'll be talking about my Week 7 rankings, quarterback and running back. Tomorrow you're going to have to wait for the video on wide receivers and tight ends. So, I'm going to do it 1 through 20 on quarterbacks and 1 through 25 on running backs. Also, just to note, there's 4 teams on a bye this week. Dolphins, Colts, Ravens, Vikings, Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins. Those are the two big ones. Colts would be Phillip Rivers, Jonathan Taylor. Ravens, Lamar, Mark Ingram. Miami, Gaskins, and Tua, because Tua's starting now. All right, let's get right into it. So number 1, Patrick Mahomes at Denver. Denver's giving up over 20 fantasy points to quarterbacks, and you're not sitting Patrick Mahomes. The next guy, I expect you not to sit him either. Russell Wilson at 2. They're going up against Arizona. Arizona's got a good defense, but you're not sitting Russell Wilson. Kyler Murray at number 3 against the Seattle Seahawks. You're not sitting Kyler Murray either. Kyler Murray just came off a really great week. You're not sitting Kyler Murray. Josh Allen at Jets. Josh Allen has already played against the Jets this year. He scored over 25 points. You're not seeing Josh Allen this week. 5, I have Deshaun Watson against the Packers. The Packers are only giving up 18 fantasy points per game, but Deshaun Watson, if he's playing, you don't sit him. Coming in at number 6, I have Matthew Stafford at Atlanta. Atlanta's giving up the most fantasy points to quarterbacks this year. That game's going to be a shootout. I expect Matthew Stafford to be a top 6 quarterback this week. Okay, going to number 7, I have Justin Herbert against the Jaguars. They already give up nearly 20 fantasy points per game to opposing quarterbacks. And like I said in my last video, I expect high things out of Justin Herbert this week. At number 8, I have Aaron Rodgers at Texans. Rodgers is coming off of a bad performance, but I think that he'll really bounce back this week, and the Texans have not been very good against the pass this year. And then at number 9, I got Matt Ryan against the Lions. Like I said earlier about Matthew Stafford, it's going to be a shootout. Lions give up nearly 22 fantasy points to opposing QBs, and Matt Ryan is coming off the biggest game of the season that he's played. Ben Roethlisberger at Titans. Big Ben is someone you're not going to sit no matter the matchup because he has too many weapons on the outside. Plus, the Titans are giving up over 21 fantasy points per game. Number 11, I got Drew Brees against the Panthers. Drew Brees will have Michael Thomas back, hopefully. And that's a big factor on why I have him ranked 11. I would probably move him further down if Michael Thomas is a no-go. But hopefully he's back after the bye week. 12, Tom Brady at Raiders. Tom Brady had a good game last week. But Ronald Jones kind of took away some touchdowns that Tom Brady normally gets to Mike Evans on like the 1 yard line or the 2 yard line. But nonetheless, Brady the top 12 play this week at Raiders defense, who's giving up nearly 21 fantasy points per game. Cam Newton versus 49ers. Cam Newton is ranked this high for me because Cam is a guy that can do it on the ground, and even if he throws for only 180 yards and throws a pick, he can still get you a solid 22 points because he can run the ball in, and he's been getting rushing touchdowns this year. He's been their goal line back for the Patriots this year. Coming in at number 14, I have Ryan Tannehill versus Steelers. Surprisingly, the Steelers haven't been the best against the pass this year. They're giving up only 15.4 fantasy points per game, but that's still only the 6th best. Obviously, that's really good, but I trust Ryan Tannehill this week with Derrick Henry running the ball like he's been. At number 15, I have Gardner Minshew at Chargers. The Chargers have had a lot of injuries to their secondary this year, and also with DJ Chark being back, Gardner Minshew threw the ball to him 14 times. I think that's just going to stay the same, and I think against this Chargers secondary that's really beat up, giving up 24 fantasy points per game, I think this is going to be a good week for Gardner Minshew. We B. The Browns get good pressure with Garrett, averaging a sack a game, but their secondary has been banged up, and the middle of the pack in fantasy points allowed to QB, and Joe Burrow has thrown for over 300 yards in 4 out of the 6 games this year. I think Joe Burrow's going to have a big game again this week. Number 17, I got Teddy B at Saints. Saints surprisingly haven't been great against the pass this year. They're actually the 4th most fantasy points against, but Teddy Bridgewater hasn't thrown the ball in the end zone. That's why he's not ranked in my top 10 or even 15 as of right now. He just needs to finish off plays. He's only thrown 6 touchdowns this year. Dalton at football team. Football team have a great front seven, but they've actually surprisingly been one of the worst defenses against the pass. Andy Dalton had his first game as a starter, though. Looked fine. He's my number 18 this week. Could move up in the future. As of right now, though, number 18 for me. 19, I have Carson Wentz against the Giants. That's the Thursday night game. Giants have been playing great defense against the past year, and a lot of it is thanks to James Bradbury. But I think Carson Wentz is one of the best QBs at extending plays, and that's either going to hurt him or help him in fantasy. So he's up here at number 19 for me, because I don't know what will happen with him this week. And finally, at number 20, Jared Goff versus the Bears. Bears have a tough defense, and the Rams have not looked like themselves on offense the last couple weeks. Let's see if they can turn around this week or not. Goff typically would probably be ranked closer towards 15, but Bears defense has been playing good, and the Rams offense has not been playing good. Now we're on to the running back rankings, and for number 1, I have a guy that's going up against a defense that's giving up over 5 yards per carry, and this guy has been the number 1 running back on the year all season, Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara is averaging 4.6 yards per carry. That doesn't really matter. He's got 7 total touchdowns. You're not sitting Alvin Kamara. This is going to be a big week for him. Number 2, Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is going against Houston Texans. Houston Texans have not been able to stop the run at all. Aaron Jones is a top 5 back every week that he's playing. And you're not sitting Aaron Jones. Coming in at number 3, Ezekiel Elliot. Ezekiel Elliott's going against the football team. And yes, he fumbled 2 times last week, but you can't sit Zeke. He's been a top running back almost every week, other than last week. You're not sitting Zeke. It's a good play. Number 4, he's got a tough matchup, but Derrick Henry versus the Steelers, they're probably still going to give Derrick Henry 30 touches at least. Derrick Henry has been a beast this year. He's coming off the biggest game of the season. And you never know what would happen with Derrick Henry. You start him every week no matter what. And at number 5, Kareem Hunt at Bengals. Kareem Hunt has seen over 70% of the snaps. He's playing against the Bengals, who allow a lot of fantasy rushing yards and fantasy points to running backs. Kareem Hunt is a must start. That's why he's in my top 5. And at number 6, we got James Robinson at Chargers. James Robinson's really just come onto the scene, and he's been their guy. James Robinson, there's no way that you're sitting him after the weeks that he's had. James Robinson last week caught a touchdown. He wasn't doing anything, and then he caught a touchdown, and he saved some people's days. Great play. Great call. Number 7, I have Mike Davis at Saints. Saints, surprisingly, haven't been that great against the run this year either, which is kind of weird because they have actually a really good front 7, I think, in my opinion. Mike Davis, you're not sitting him. He's filling in for Christian McCaffrey. Well, Christian McCaffrey's hurt, and he's been giving you a solid 20 floor. Number 8, James Conner at Titans. Titans have been actually pretty good against the run this year. When they played against the Buffalo Bills, they held Devin Singletary for 11 carries for 27 yards. But James Conner the last 4 weeks, has been really, really good. He's had 3 over 100-yard games, and he scored a touchdown in the game. He didn't have over 100 yards. So James Conner is a top 8 play for me this week. Number 9, Clyde Edwards-Helaire at Broncos. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is coming off of a huge game, and I don't know what kind of role Le'Veon Bell is going to have in that offense, so I think I'm going to stick with Clyde Edwards-Helaire inside the top 10 this week. Number 10, I have Joe Mixon versus the Browns. The Browns actually are pretty good against the run this year, but Joe Mixon gets so many touches that it's just unbelievable. I'm going to start Joe Mixon even if he gets 50 yards, and he just gets 25 touches a game. That's crazy. Doesn't even matter how many yards per carry he's averaging. He's been getting balls thrown to him too, because Joe Burrow likes throwing to running backs now, apparently. At number 11, I have Todd Gurley versus the Lions. Lions have not been very good against the run this year, and Todd Gurley's been really hot. Coming in at number 12, I have Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones has had 3 games of 100 yards or more rushing. 3 games. And the Raiders are not good against the run. I got Ronald Jones at 12. Carson at Cardinals. Cardinals defense is really good, but I think they're going to be more focused on like Russell Wilson than Chris Carson. I think Chris Carson could have a big game. Number 14, I have Antonio Gibson versus Dallas. Dallas's defense has not been great this year, and they just gave up a 150-yard game to Kenyon Drake, and I think Antonio Gibson could do something close to that. Number 15, I have Josh Jacobs versus Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay did a really, really good job against the Packers. They shut down Aaron Jones pretty hard. They shut down the run in general. They just stick Devin White on him, and that's a good call. I think Josh Jacobs, though, is a little bit more of like a physical runner than Aaron Jones. So I got Josh Jacobs at 15 this week. At number 16, I have David Montgomery at Rams. This one's kind of tough because the Rams' defense is very good, but the Bears have been passing the ball really well, and David Montgomery's been getting work in the passing game, so I have him at 16 because I think he's going to be their main guy this week, and I like how he's catching balls. Number 17, I have Darrell Henderson. I think that Darrell Henderson, even though their backfield is a committee, sort of, Akers and Kane touches last week, but Darrell Henderson, I think, is the best runner out of all of those guys. And Bears are tough, but I think that if the Rams' offense is clicking passing-wise, I think that Darrell Henderson will have a big game. Number 18, I have DeAndre Swift against the Falcons. So in my last video, I made the bold prediction that DeAndre Swift will go over 100 yards total and get a touchdown and catch 6 balls. I think this game will be a shootout, and so I do think that is a very high chance that he'll catch at least 6 balls. So I have him at 18. At number 19, I have David Johnson versus the Packers. The Packers' run defense is not good. David Johnson, I don't really think is amazing or anything, but he has been running the ball pretty good this year. So I have him at 19. Number 20, I have Devin Singletary at Jets. I think that the Bills are going to be up in that game so much they're just going to run the ball. Whether it be Zach Moss or Devin Singletary, I don't know. I don't even think Zach Moss really played last week. Number 21, I have Kenyon Drake. Drake's coming off of a big game. Oh, and they're versing Seattle, by the way. Drake's coming off of a big game. But he had 3 carries for 25-plus yards. And I don't see that happening every week, but it could. At number 22, I have Boston Scott versus the Giants. The Giants have been horrible against the run this year. And Boston Scott's taken the role of Miles Sanders, I would assume. And so I'm going to have him in my top 25 against a defense that's not been good against the run. Philip Lindsay right now I have at 23, but if Melvin Gordon plays, then I'll probably put Melvin Gordon at 23 instead of Philip Lindsay. But I don't really know what that backfield's going to be like. Philip Lindsay had a really good week last week, and I expect the same if he's their starter again against the Chiefs. Number 24, I have Devonta Freeman. The Eagles are tough against the run, and so this one's tough, but he's their guy. He had 19 touches last week. He's their guy. Number 25, I have Jerick McKinnon at Patriots. This one's tough too because the Patriots' run defense is good, but I think they're going to try to take away George Kittle, so they're not going to be focused on the run as much. So hopefully that'll benefit Jerick McKinnon this week. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit that thumbs up button or leave a comment down below or subscribe. Thank you. Also, I'll be answering questions if you have them, so you can comment questions to start. And also, there's going to be a video up tomorrow. I'm going to be doing more rankings, my wide receivers, and tight ends. So stay tuned for that.